Thank you so much for being here. My name is Gordon Hayward. I've been the president of Latchis Arts, which is overseeing the Latchis building and the programming therein over the last 4 years. 2 years ago, I spent about a year exploring the history of this building and the Latchis family, and I wanted to read you 3 or 4 paragraphs from chapter 1, which is all about this very night, exactly 80 years ago, to the hour. That is that the Latchis family, and Anne Latchis is on the board with me, and still looking after her family's building. But the Latchis family literally opened the doors to this building at 7 o'clock on this particular night, exactly 80 years ago. So this is a little bit of the history of that night. The Roaring Twenties had been good for the Latchis family, and remarkably enough, so had the years of the Great Depression. They had lived out their ever more successful lives in Brattleboro, population 8,000. The evening of September 22nd, 1938 would be their crowning glory. It was an evening the family and son Peter in particular had been working toward since their father had entered the Ellis Island Immigration Center in 1901 with $10 in his pocket from the remote mountain village in the Greek Peloponnese. By 1913, the entire family of 7 was living in the New World. They would soon own their own houses and build businesses that employed the family, all in Brattleboro. Between 1920 and 1938, now a family of 9, they had also built 3,000-seat movie theaters and leased or purchased a further 10 in New Hampshire, Vermont, and Massachusetts. All 7 children had their own homes, their own families, the 4 sons all living in Brattleboro or nearby, the 3 daughters further afield. But on this particular night, after nearly 2 years of planning and construction in the teeth of the Great Depression, they had completed the construction of their memorial masterpiece, this building. They spent $530,000 at the end of the Depression, nearly $9 million in today's currency, to create this grand movie theater and 50-room hotel to honor the patriarch, Demetrius Peter Latchis, who had passed away 6 years earlier. 2 days before the grand opening, the Latchis brothers purchased an advertisement in the Brattleboro Daily Reformer that read, "Latchis Memorial Theater grand opening, Thursday, September 22nd at 8 p.m. On the stage in person, Felix Ferdinando and his Hotel Montclair Orchestra, direct from Million Dollar Pier, Atlantic City. Marie Moore and the Aristocrats, mirthful melange of music. Tommy and Mary, the jitterbugs of rhythm. On the screen, the dazzling Sonia, the modern girl having a good time. Sonia Henney and Richard Gere in My Lucky Star. Also news and cartoon. All seats reserved, on sale at the auditorium box office. Orchestra tickets, 90 cents. That is tax, 9 cents, for a total of 99. Balcony, 50 cents. Tax, 5 cents, for a total of 55 cents. But the Latchis boys had to postpone their grand opening for 24 hours. On September 21st, a hurricane with sustained winds of 100 miles an hour and gusts up to 150 miles an hour was, with very little warning, tracking up the Connecticut River straight for Brattleboro. Records show this hurricane, regionally known as the Long Island Express, had been predicted to continue up the New England coast and out to sea, when suddenly, just past New York City, it veered north over Long Island and traveling at an unheard of 50 miles an hour, made its way through Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Vermont on into Canada, where it dissipated near Montreal. It damaged towns and cities along its path and was gone from one town to the next in 5 hours. Records show this to be the worst natural disaster to date in the history of the Northeast United States. According to Vermont author Stephen Long in his recent book, 38, The Hurricane That Transformed New England, while 9 inches of rain fell in the western half of Vermont, less rain but far wilder winds blew where Brattleboro lies in the southeastern corner of the state. The Whetstone Brook just behind the new memorial building was over its banks, as was the nearby Connecticut River, in sight of most of the east-facing hotel rooms. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, 700 people in New England lost their lives that afternoon, 400 in Rhode Island alone. $400 million in 1938 valuation, nearly $7 billion in today's currency, resulted from this storm that seriously affected the lives of 8 million people and toppled an estimated 250 million trees. 2 days later, a local newspaper headlined, "Storm Takes Terrific Toll, Blocks Railways, Roads, 144 dead, 4 in the Brattleboro area, wires down, bridges out." While lower down on page 1, we read, "Theater filled for opening show. Scheduled attractions arrive at the Latchis Family Theater." So that's what was going on in this building 80 years ago tonight. So thank you all for being here. I'd like to introduce John Potter, who's the executive director of the Latchis. Thank you.
My name is John Potter. I'm the executive director of the Latchis, and I echo Gordon's warm welcome to you all. Thank you for turning out to celebrate the Latchis Memorial Building's 80th birthday. Thank you. We're celebrating the grand opening of this magnificent building, but what we're really celebrating is what goes on in this building. This celebration is about people. It's about the role the Latchis plays in our community. It's about the experiences that people have had here and will have here. This is a day that reflects what we do here. We show great films and present live events that often showcase the best of our community and give them a chance to reach audiences and raise funds. The relationships and partnerships that make this happen are the most important part of what we do. This event celebrates that. We chose a one-day extravaganza in which we would highlight what we do and who we do it with all year long. What's happening today looks very much like a year in our lives here, compressed into one day, like looking at a yearbook. Then came the task of approaching organizations and individuals in our community about performing here. Imagine our nerve having to go up to people we value so much and essentially say, "We're having this party, we'd like you to come, and we'd like you to be extremely generous and give us a big piece of your time and talent as a present. What do you say?" To our great delight, we got so many yes answers that the day expanded into 2 performances. It is yet another testament to our wonderful community. We are all so lucky. We are also committed to making the special events today free to our community. We feel such gratitude to the people of this community for their support for 80 years. It's you who should get the gifts on our birthday. To make this possible, we are thankful to our sponsors, the Richards Group and Mark and Elizabeth Richards, Dead River Company, a couple of anonymous individuals, and we also wish to thank our media sponsors at Vermont PBS. Thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause. It has all come together for us to celebrate the first 80 years of this resilient and magical place. Now on with the show. Our first 2 performers this afternoon represent the Brattleboro Music Center, and this is a great time to congratulate them on their amazing new facility. Let's give them a round of applause. The Brattleboro Music Center has been enriching lives through music since 1952, when they were established by Blanche Moise. Connections between the Latchis and the BMC are close and warm. In the next 8 months, there will be 10 performances at the Latchis by BMC ensembles. That works out to one every 24 days. Starting off our performance, and I would say that this is the first ensemble to say yes to our invitation to perform, is the BMC Flute Choir. So let's welcome the BMC Flute Choir under the direction of Robin Mattathias.
The Brattleboro Music Center Flute Choir is open to high school students through adults. Our youngest has been 13, the oldest has been 80, so we have a really nice mix of students and community members. We also run an intensive week-long flute camp in the summer. You might be seeing some members of the flute family you've never seen before. We have an alto and bass flute with us today. So the alto flute is a fourth lower than the C flute and has a very different tone color. Play a couple notes on it. And then we have the bass flute, which is a whole octave lower than the C flute, and Kealan will demonstrate. Gives a nice bottom to the sound. And we're very grateful to Keene State College for loaning those to us for the concert. I want to talk a little bit about the next piece, Railroaded. It's a very different kind of piece. The composer, Nicole Chamberlain, writes about the piece. I want to tell you what she says about it. It says, Railroaded was composed for the 2015 Atlanta Flute Club School Honors Flute Choir under the direction of the composer. Atlanta is a hub of sorts for the rail system. No matter how hard the composer tried, she always found herself living within earshot of the railroad since moving to Georgia. It seems that most of the trains do most of their traveling at night, blowing their horns as they pass through intersections or returning home. That persistent sound, always present in the composer's mind. So in this piece, Nicole Chamberlain makes use of what we call extended techniques, which are techniques that go beyond the normal notes that we would play. And I just want to explain what you're going to be hearing. We're basically kind of beatboxing into the flute in places. And the first sound you're going to hear is a cha going into the flute, and Kealan will demonstrate. And then as the trains get going, it's going to be a chicka, chicka, chicka. Another sound that you're going to hear is a tss into the flute. And then there'll be some bending, which is like purposely making the sound go flat. And then flutter tonguing, which is a kind of into the flute. You want to do that? So enjoy. We had a lot of fun playing this piece.
Let's have another round for the BMC Flute Choir. Thank you. So our next performers are also ambassadors of the Brattleboro Music Center, and they will be performing excerpts from Puccini's great opera Turandot, which will be performed here at the Latchis live on October 12th and October 14th by the Windham Orchestra and some amazing vocal soloists. We are very excited about that, and we urge you to get your tickets as soon as you can. To fuel your hunger for Turandot, pianist and Windham County Orchestra Maestro Hugh Kealan and singer Jenna will perform a piece from the opera. Please welcome Hugh and Jenna.
But first, ladies and gentlemen, so Jenna and I have been standing over there mostly as the ceremonies have begun, and I'm looking around, I'm looking on stage, I'm looking around at the Zodiac, I'm looking at the balcony, the people in the house, the chairs, and what I see is a place that is, number one, really beautiful, and number two, a place that is so obviously about welcome and belonging. And we'll tell you about what we're going to be doing. Jenna and I will tell you about what we're going to be doing with Puccini's opera Turandot. But I just want to leave you with, just kind of start off with those thoughts of beauty and a sort of a welcome that you can't avoid. You know, the person who comes to hug you, right? That's the feeling of coming in the space. I loved Gordon Hayward's words as he was summoning the feeling of the very early program that came out in the 30s and 40s here. So this evening, the Windham Orchestra, about, I think, 22, 24 of us, will be up here on stage after the New England Center for Circus Arts are performing, and we'll be doing a work by Aaron Copland that is called Music for the Theatre. Of course, it wasn't written for the Latchis, but we're going to pretend that it was. And it summons that quality of kind of anything goes, boisterous, vaudeville, perhaps with a little hint of sentiment or nostalgia or even sadness mixed in it, but then pretty much back to burlesque and clowning and something else. This music captures that perfectly. So I invite you to come back between 7 and 8 to hear what we're doing then. So that's this evening. Now, right now, that means Jenna and me, a couple of people who are here in the theatre, certainly the theatre staff here, and possibly as many as 100 other community members are putting together the final weeks of the production of Puccini's Turandot. Okay, so we just came from a local store who provided us with this mighty and fearsome helmet. So that's just one example. That's Pamela Moore Bridals, just on Main Street. Bridal, right? And just to give you a flavor of what a pull for the community we want to be, and we think quite a lot of the time we are, that's we, the Windham Orchestra, is only yesterday did we find somebody who actually owns a whole set of Chinese gongs that we can use for the performance, right? So we are pretty much at the last minute, kind of mixing him into the stew, into the soup of what we'll be performing. Jenna, what would you like to say about Princess Turandot?
Well, what I want to say about performing opera in the Latchis, and it's not just Turandot, this will be our 5th opera in the Latchis, is one of my favorite things to do is run around in this theater while we're performing. So we can run up the stairs, and we can go to the balcony, and we can come down in the house. So for today, I'll sing from here, but when you come to the show, you'll get to be surprised by where the people show up in the house.
We beg you to come to Turandot, and I will give a very brief flavor of 2 of the things that happen in the opera before Jenna sings. So I'll start out with a pretty violent crashing passage, right? Which is actually a huge theme of the opera. There's a mountain of explicit and implicit violence and terror in the opera. We hope there's a happy ending at the end. We're pretty sure there is. You be the judge. So I'll start out with the flavor of that. Then I'll give you one of the most gorgeous tunes that'll be sung by children in the show. And no particular surprise, the children represent hope. They represent thaw. There's a big theme of iciness and withholding and spite and revenge. And the children express the opposite of that, the hope that it be otherwise. And it's a very, very, very touching tune, and I really promise you, your hearts will break when you come to the performances, and then you'll meet the Princess Turandot, and she'll tell you whatever she tells you.
Thank you. Let's clap once more for Hugh and Jenna. I'd like to speak a little personally about how much these next performers mean to me. Peter Gould and Stearns are towering figures in our community. Personally, each of them occupies a special place in my heart. When I was at a real low point, it was an interview with Peter and a kind inscription in his book to me that helped keep me going. His latest book, Horse-Drawn Yogurt, is a great read, and I highly recommend it. Shameless plug. As for Stephen, when I got this job at the Latchis, one of the first things that arrived for me was a congratulatory note and an important gift. This clown nose, which perhaps you could see it's different from other clown noses in that it has nostril holes so you can actually breathe. I felt like I had arrived. It hangs in my office today as a reminder to have fun and breathe. Gould and Stearns, Vermont's clown jewels, have been sharing the stage for some 35 years, and during that time they have performed nearly 4,000 shows from coast to coast. They are also teachers who have devoted their lives to the youth of our community and elsewhere. Their appearance here today also celebrates the warm friendship between the Latchis and the New England Youth Theater. Founded in 1998 by Stearns, NEYT's first real home was in the Latchis building in the former Jadwa Chinese restaurant, where the Latchis 4 Theater is now. NEYT moved into a terrific facility all of its own just up the street, where they are great neighbors, and they have continued to work their magic ever since. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gould and Stearns.
Well, you've got Gould. Anyway, so, wow, the Latchis has been here for 80 years. I've been here for 50 years. And when I first came, I noticed this old game or this sort of a machine, you know, standing outside of a general store. I don't even know which general store it was. And I said, someday I'm going to own that, you know. And when I came back, it was no longer there. The store was closed. But recently I found it in a junk store. I got that thing. I cleaned it all up, made sure it works. Would you like to see it? Yeah? Yeah. Oh, it actually, it's got a name. This game, this thing, is called Howdy Buckaroo.
Howdy, Buckaroo. So you think you can outdraw me? Put in a quarter and see. Howdy, Buckaroo. So you think you can outdraw me? Put in a quarter and see. Howdy, Buckaroo. So you think you can outdraw me? Put in a quarter and see. Howdy, Buckaroo. So you think you can outdraw me? Put in a quarter and see. Howdy, Buckaroo. So you think you can outdraw me? Put in a quarter and see. Howdy, Buckaroo. So you think you can outdraw me? Huh? Pick up the gun at my boot, and on the count of 3, we'll shoot. 1, 2, 3. Howdy, Buckaroo. So you think you can outdraw me? put in a quarter and see. How so? You think you can outdraw me? Huh? Pick up the gun in my book. On the count of three, we'll shoot. 1, 2, 3. Howdy, buckaroo. So you think you can outdraw me? So you think you can outdraw me? Huh? Pick up the gun in my boot. On the count of three, we'll shoot. 1, a T, 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 3. Howdy, buckaroo. So you think you can outdraw? So you think you can outdraw me? Huh? Pick up the gun in my boot. On the count of three, we'll shoot. 1, 2. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8.
What about 3?
Howdy, buckaroo. You think you can outdraw me? Put in a quarter and see. Pues, ¿tú crees que puedes vencer? Oh, recoge la pistola a mis pies y estaremos a la cuenta de 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Raz, 2, 4. Oh, dovidaj, cowboy. 1, 2, 3. Oh, salto. Howdy, buckaroo. So you think you can outdraw me? Put in a couple. So you think you can outdraw me? Oh! Pick up the gun in my boot. On the count of three, we'll shoot. 1, 2.
Well,
So you thought you could outdraw me? Huh?
thank you.
Gould and Stearns. So leave it to NEYT kids to have the toughest act to follow. But we're continuing our focus on New England Youth Theater. by presenting a little excerpt from their upcoming play, the fantasy adventure She Kills Monsters, which opens Friday, October 5th, runs through October 13th. She Kills Monsters urges audiences to embrace your inner nerd. Come on, you know what's in there. And tickets are available at neyt.org. Ladies and gentlemen, representing New England Youth Theater are Amelia Graff, Val Klug, and Cole Nelson, under the direction of Michael Truss.
Good afternoon. I'm Amelia Graff, a senior student from the New England Youth Theater. Please join me in another round of applause for NYT's founder, Stephen Stearns, and our friend, Peter Gould. We are so excited to be part of this awesome and wonderful celebration. NEYT's relationship with the Latchis goes back to our inception, and we couldn't be where we are today without their support. So congratulations, Latchis, on 80 wonderful years of entertainment. Yes. Today, we'd like to present a scene from our upcoming production of She Kills Monsters by Kealan, an adventurous play about two sisters, Agnes and Tilly, whose struggling relationship becomes even more complicated through a series of unfortunate events. By partaking in an action-packed and harrowing game of Dungeons and Dragons, the two sisters discover acceptance, closure, and a deeper sense of love for one another. We are currently in rehearsals and open in 2 short weeks just down the street at 100 Flat Street, with performances the weekends of October 5th and 12th. You can purchase tickets and find out more information about this and other upcoming productions and programs for kids ages 6 through 19 on our website at neyt.org. We'd love to have all of you join us in 2 weeks to see what we've been up to. So without further ado, please welcome Val Klug and Cole Nelson joining me to present a short scene from She Kills Monsters.
Hey, can I talk to you for a moment?
What are you doing here?
I need advice.
Are you thinking of returning to high school?
No.
Are your grades slipping?
No.
Then I have nothing to advise you on. I'm a high school guidance counselor, Miles, not your therapist.
You're my best friend.
No, I'm your girlfriend's best friend. You I don't like so much.
Hi, Miss Martin. Is this bad time?
Yes!
No. Come on in, Stephen.
Hey.
What can I help you with?
Agnes is cheating on me with a high school
I
kid.
was talking to Stephen. Stephen, what can I do for you?
Well, I was thinking about dropping out of the marching band, but I'm scared it might affect my college application since it's really my only extracurricular activity.
Kid, that shit don't matter. But you know what does matter? Your girlfriend cheating on you with a high school student.
Miles, have some perspective. Can't you see how this might be an inappropriate conversation to be having in front of a student?
I agree.
Shut up, Stephen.
All right.
So what should I do?
Break up with her.
Really?
Yes, really. Be honest with me, Miles. It took you 3 years to even ask her to move in with you. It's not like you're that committed to her in the first place.
That's not true.
Stephen, if you were dating Miss Evans for 3 years, 3 years, what do you think the next logical step would be?
Miss Evans? Well, she is really pretty.
Yo, what is up with high school boys digging on my girlfriend?
I don't dig. I just acknowledge.
What would you do, Stephen?
I guess I'd ask her to marry me.
See what I'm saying?
Who asked you?
Miss Martin did.
Well, it doesn't matter anyway, because she's cheating on me.
No, she's not.
I met him. She acknowledged it. He's her secret friend.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
He's her dungeon master.
He brings her into dungeons?
Jesus Christ, Miles! No! He's a Dungeons and Dragons nerd. He's the guy who rolls the dice or whatever.
Actually, in a typical D20 scheme, the player is actually the one.
Shut up, Stephen!
So she's playing D&D?
Miss Evans plays D&D? Wow, cool!
Don't you even think about it, kid.
So about my conundrum.
What conundrum?
The marching band.
Oh, right. Yeah, that stuff doesn't really matter. Get back to class.
Wow. You really suck at your job.
And you really suck at being a boyfriend.
And I think you both suck. So, she's playing D&D? That's it? Why?
Maybe you should ask her.
How about another hand for those New England Youth Theater actors? The final act of our matinee performance represents the Vermont Jazz Center. The Vermont Jazz Center dates back to the 1970s, when founding director, guitarist Attila Zoller began inviting musicians from New York to unwind and create at his home in Newfane. In 1997, Zoller passed the torch to pianist Eugene Newman, who has helped develop the VJC into a year-round program that features monthly concerts and an impressive array of classes, workshops, jam sessions, and other instructive settings. Their monthly concerts are ferociously good, and their concert venue in the Cotton Mill is a great place to enjoy jazz. Their next concert, I think it's October 12th, they'll correct me on that, is with Grammy Award-winning bassist Christian McBride and his quartet. Are you kidding me? It's going to be amazing. Tickets are available at vtjazz.org. I highly recommend these concerts. And they share the wealth. The Vermont Jazz Center has been responsible for some of the most memorable nights here at the Latchis. My personal favorites are performances by the Count Basie Big Band and Snarky Puppy, two great shows. Uniquely memorable was the concert in 2005 with legendary drummer Roy Haynes. On a stormy night, halfway through the concert, the power went out. Hardly skipping a beat, Haynes and his bandmates picked up where they left off and kept playing. Ultimately, power was restored, but a very memorable night was had by all. On August 28, 2011, the Latchis, like so much of this community, was struck by Tropical Storm Irene. The storm dealt more than $500,000 in damage to the Latchis and knocked us out of commission for 6 weeks. We reopened just in time to welcome jazz giant Kenny Barron to the stage on October 15, 2011. Representing the VJC this afternoon are the great singer Wanda Houston and the Mothership Trio, featuring Eugene Newman on piano, Wayne Roberts on bass, and Claire Arrhenius on drums. They will be transporting us back in time with music from the swing era when the Latchis Memorial Building first opened. Ladies and gentlemen, Wanda Houston and the Mothership Trio. They're making their way.
This is very exciting. What a great theater. I just came out from a beautiful dressing closet. Out back, and it was, usually we don't get anything. I'm dressing in a corridor in an alley in the hall. But so this is nice. This is class. I thought I'd wear my hat. Because in 1938, they would have worn a hat. We all would have been in hats. And gloves. And this is just very exciting. I love theaters. I grew up in the theater. So to come and honor and to one of the early theaters is an honor for me. So thank you for having me. So glad you did.
It's really an honor to be a part of this program. Part of the essence of Brattleboro that makes us feel so happy to be part of this community is the fact that we all collaborate with each other. One of the things that I have been feeling as the director of the Jazz Center is the ease with which the Latchis and BAI and all of the people that are associated with Latchis have collaborated with the Jazz Center. You know, and I also have wonderful memories of Gail being the director here, Gail Nunziata.
So this first tune we're going to do is a tune by Fats Waller. Latchis would have been, what, 9 years old when this tune came out? So 1929. This just ain't misbehaving. No one to walk with, but I'm happy on the shelf, ain't misbehaving, saving my love for you. Oh, I know for certain one that I love. I'm through with flirting, it's you that I'm thinking of, ain't misbehaving, saving my love for you. Don't go nowhere, what do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for, believe me. Oh, I don't go out late, I don't get a go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio, ain't misbehaving, saving my love, the good with you, No one to talk with, Eugene Newman lives all by myself. No one to walk with, I'm happy on the shelf. Hey, misbehaving, I'm saving my love. I'm saving my love for you. I know for certain that you are the one I love. I'm through with flirting, it's you I'm thinking of. It misbehaving, I'm saving my love for saving my love, ain't misbehaving. I'm saving my love for you. Yes, I'm saving my love for you. Ain't misbehaving. Love that swallow. Wish that song were true. I'm always misbehaving. There's never any telling what's gonna. This next tune, anyway, it's coming from 1926. It makes me think of my father. It was the year my dad was born. And it's a song that I learned pretty well. It was much later on in my life, but it's a cute little song. But it's one of those songs that can stand the test of time. It's called Bye Bye Blackbird. I'm gonna pack up all my carrying load. Here I go swinging low. Bye bye blackbird. Well, somebody waits for me. Sugar sweet, so is she. Bye 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 blackbird. No one here can love or understand me. Whoa, what hot nut stories they all had me. Oh, make my bed and light the lights. I'll be home late tonight, blackbird. Bye 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 love. sort of a musical movie that was done by the same name, and it was one of the first African-American, all African-American cast. In 1943, from the movie musical Stormy Weather, came this incredible song sung by Lena Horne, and let's see, 20th Century Fox, I think, did it. The other one was Cabin in the Sky, I think was the other one. But this is one of those songs that, again, you can hear it today and it's just as fresh. Don't know why there's no sun up in the sky, stormy weather, just can't get my poor self together. It keeps raining all the time, Life is bad, pain and misery everywhere, stormy weather. Since my man and I ain't together, it keeps raining all the time. Oh, since he went away, oh, blues come to get me. Since he walked away, oh, rockin' chair's gonna get me. Oh, all I do is pray that the Lord above will let me just walk in the sun once more. Can't go on, everything I had is gone, stormy weather. Since my man and I ain't together, it keeps raining all the time. Ooh. Stormy weather, just can't get my poor self together. It keeps raining all the time. all the time. All the time. Stormy weather. Thank you. You can go ahead and just give me a little. So after it's stormy, we hope this is what we get. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. This is from 1928. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies. Do I see? I see bluebirds singing a song, nothing but blue skies from now on. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right, noticing the clouds high in the sky when you're in love. My, how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone. I get nothing but that blue, blue sky from now on, from now on. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so bright, noticing the clouds high in the sky when you're in love. My, how they fly, blue days, all of them gone. I got nothing but a blue, blue skies. I got nothing but blue, blue skies. I got nothing but blue, blue skies from now on. Blue skies. Thank you, folks. So we are, I guess this is the first day of fall. We are officially into fall. Yeah, I know. It's my favorite time of year. I'm a fall colors girl. I love fall. Summer's great. Don't get me wrong. And because it's warm, just too many bugs. Just too many bugs. But fall is beautiful. The weather, the temperature's just right. You just need a sweater here and there. You know, so, except for here in New England, winter just seems to come on a little too soon. I'm originally from Chicago. Fall was always great, even in Chicago. At least it let up on some of the moisture in the air, some of the humidity. And then when I lived in Los Angeles, you didn't know. There was one street in Beverly Hills that had trees, sycamores, I think they were, that the leaves would fall. And I'd get a chance. I'd walk down that street every fall just to get that feeling. My street was lined with palm trees. And when those leaves fell, watch out. It was more like the falling leaves. Your cars, the sirens going up. Anyway, this song is from 1945. This is Autumn Leaves. Drift by my window, falling leaves of red and gold. I see lips, the summer kisses, and the wind-blown hands that I used to hold. Since you went away, the days grow cold. Soon I hear whole winter song, but I miss you most of all, my darling. When autumn leaves they start to fall. Mr. Wayne Roberts. The falling leaves drift by my window. The falling leaves of I see your lips, the summer kisses, and the wind-blown hands that I used to hold. Since you went away, the days grow cold, and soon I hear winter song. But I miss you most of all, my darling. When autumn leaves they start to fall, but I miss you most of all, my darling. When autumn leaves start to fall, when autumn leaves start to fall, start to fall. Autumn leaves. We had a great time. I love that song. Thank you. Thanks so much. This is great fun for us. I love when I get a chance to come up here. I live down in the South Berkshires, down near Great Barrington, Sheffield, Mass. And this time of year, my house, I have this big old oak. Actually, it's a maple out in front of my house, in front of my door. So when I walk out in the door, it's this big old gnarled tree. And when these leaves start to fall, it just makes me so happy. I moved up here from New York City. And fall is great, as you know, in New York, but there's nothing like being in the great outdoors in the country to have those leaves. So you want to try this? Sure. This is from 1922, and I don't think I've ever done this song with this group before. This is from 1922. This is an old blues, and Bessie Smith did it, and Billie Holiday did it, and everybody did it. Now I'm gonna do it. So we're gonna why don't you just give me a chord and I'll try to see if we can do that intro. Actually, my great-grandmother used to do this. My great-grandmother was a honky-tonk piano player back at the turn of the century. She was born in 1900 and she used to travel around and play honky-tonk piano, big stride piano player. When I met her, however, she was a church lady, wore big hats. That's why I know about these hats she wore. But every once in a while, she'll get a twinkle in her eye, because she called all that blues, that's the devil's music. But every once in a while, she'll get a little twinkle, and she'd sing. See, there ain't nothing I can do, or nothing I can say, that folks don't criticize me, but I'm gonna do just what I want to anyway. Now I don't care just what people say. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I should take a notion to jump into the ocean, tain't nobody's business if I do. If I go to church on Sunday, then cabaret all day Monday, tain't nobody's business if I do. If I give my man my last nickel and it puts me in a pickle, tain't nobody's business if I do. 'Cause I don't want no copper if I'm beat up by my papa. Ain't nobody's business if I do. See, it ain't nobody's business. Tain't nobody's business. It ain't nobody's business if I do. Oh, you see, it's nobody's business. Nobody's business. It ain't nobody's business if I do. Come on. notion just to go and jump to the ocean. Tain't nobody's business if I do. If I go to church on Sunday, and I do, and Calvary all day Monday, I do that too. Ain't nobody's business if I do. If I take my last nickel and it rinds me in a pickle, tain't nobody's business if I do. 'Cause I ain't gonna tell no copper if I meet up by my papa. Tain't nobody's business if I do. Ain't nobody's business. Ain't nobody's business. It ain't nobody's business if I do. Ain't nobody's business. Ain't nobody's business. Ain't nobody's business if I do. It ain't nobody's business if I do. Missy D. Brown, that's my grandma. My great-grandmother, she would, first time I heard that was at her knee. But I also heard a lot of other great songs at her knee. So what do you guys want to go? Where do we?
I think we should get Rob out here because we're running out of time.
We're running out of time. So soon, seems we just get started. And before you know it, we're going to bring Rob Freeberg out with us with his trumpet. Where's that boy with the bugle? Come on out here. Rob Freeberg, everybody. I have the pleasure of working with Rob, and this is also with Eugene at the Vermont Jazz Center. And we did a tribute to Ella Fitzgerald for her centennial. It was back in December of 2017. Just a couple of points. Sometimes it goes so fast. So we're going to do a couple of tunes here. This one I love to do. My mother used to sing to me. My mother is a singer. My great-grandmother's granddaughter. Bessie. My mother's Bessie. She would, we had one of those big old country sinks in our kitchen in Chicago. And she would bathe me in that, and when she would give me a bath, she would sing this to me. And so it brings back fond memories, and it goes like this. Ooh, ooh. Let me see what love is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, darling, kiss me. In other words, hold my hand. Fill my heart with sound. Let me play forevermore. You are all I hope for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. Darling, in other words, I love you. Okay, well, we got a few more, I guess one or two more. What do we got? How much time do we have?
The whole night.
As much as... Don't say that to me, because you guys will have to get your sleeping bags. I'll just stay up here and sing, because I'm having a great time. This is a wonderful stage. The spirit here is wonderful. Thank you so much for having us here. I'm really enjoying this. So hopefully we can come back and do something else again. I'd love to do that. But I guess there's other people coming up on stage tonight, so we've got to get up. Okay, so what do you want to do?
I got it back.
I got it back? Okay. So we're going to do the Duke Ellington. This is a tune that I love to do. It's Duke Ellington. I think this was from 1940 something. Actually, yeah, and this is Duke Ellington's I Got It Bad, and that ain't good.
In F.
In F.
Got it. No, I misplaced my sheet music, so I have to get it from my phone.
1941. He never treats me sweet and gentle the way that he should. I got it bad and that ain't good. My heart is sentimental, not made of wood. I've got it bad and that ain't good. The weekend's over. Oh, and nighttime rolls around. Eyes are dark, just like I started crying my eyes out. He don't love me like I love him, and nobody could. See, I got it bad. ain't good. That ain't good.
Thank you folks so much. We're gonna end out just like kind of like we started out. Doing a tune just like the Latchis. You know, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but just watch. I think Latchis has got another 80 years and more to be here, bringing more entertainment to this stage here in Brattleboro. I love coming to visit. We're gonna do a song. We're gonna reprise the song we've already done to show you that some of the old songs, if it's good, it doesn't matter. We're gonna start out with that.
Gonna find me a friend, I might say my good, my good, fly away, fly away. I say my good, fly away, fly away. See, pack up all your care and woe. Here I go, swinging low by Blackbird, where somebody waits for me, sugar sweet, and so is she. Blackbird. Oh, no one here can love or understand me. Say, oh, what hard stories they all have. They're gonna make my bed and light the lights. I'll be home late tonight, Blackbird. Fly away, come on, rock. Fly away, come on. I say fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away. Hey, hurry up. Take it home, go away, go away. Blackbird, sing all night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. See that blackbird singing in the dead of night. Gonna take these wings and learn to fly. Oh, back up on my carol. Here I go, swinging low by. Sugar sweet, and so is she. Bye, 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 Blackbird. Ain't no one in that can love or understand.
6:30 and another performance here at 7. Are we ready?